The Blanket, A Child's Outline for Success, authored by Justice de Burgh, illustrated by the talented Yuko Ligny. We pray that you not only enjoy this book, but that all your dreams come true, even the ones of which you are not yet aware. There was a little boy hovering by a wall almost 3 times his size. It was obvious that the boy was trying to think of a way to climb over the wall. Now, he had always been a curious little boy. Some might even say mischievous, but he preferred the term adventurous. When along came an old man with his dog, he saw the boy struggling to get over what appeared to the boy to be an insurmountable wall.
"Can you please give me a boost?"
The boy asked desperately.
"Oh, I'm too old and weak to give you a boost. Why?"
Naturally inquisitive, the old man asked the boy why he's trying so hard to get to the other side of the wall. The boy replied excitedly,
"I was told that behind this wall is the most beautiful garden anyone has ever seen. And inside are the keys to the universe, and they can unlock any door you want."
Well, if these keys can open any door in the world,
Then they must be well guarded. Surely there's no way in.
remarked the man with a knowing smile. But deep down inside, the boy somehow knew that there must be a way into the garden.
Faith is a powerful force,
said the herder. The old man then carried on after seeing something stir within the boy. The next morning, a little girl found the boy trying to devise a plan as to how he could scale the wall and get those keys. Naturally, the girl inquired as to what he was doing.
"I'm trying to think of a way to get over this wall,"
the boy answered.
"But why?"
asked the girl with an angelic smile. Then, the boy told her about the keys and how they can open every door in the universe.
Boys are always up to something.
She thought, and then, without any hesitation, the little girl asked the little boy if he wanted any help.
"You're offering to help me?"
asked the boy.
"Thank you so much."
Of course.
Replied the little girl.
Why wouldn't I?
And just like that, with a few simple words, a very special bond was formed. The following morning, the boy was again alone with his plans, until a well-dressed man who appeared to be successful and having the air of someone possessing a wealth of knowledge noticed the boy getting frustrated.
"What are you doing, boy? Have you lost something?"
"No, sir.
The boy answered.
I was told that behind this wall is the most beautiful garden anyone has ever seen. And in the garden are the keys to the universe, and they can unlock any door you want."
"Well, it looks like you could use a little help."
Having previously been in need of some assistance himself and being able to relate, the man offered to assist.
"I always ensure that I have ample time for just such an occasion, and none more important than an adventure or fulfilling one's destiny. Collect that bush and thistle. You can tie them together and make a rope."
The gentleman then showed the boy how to tie the bits of shrub together. The boy folded up his plans and put them in his pocket. He then continued the chain by linking them together, and soon he had a long rope. The man then knotted the rope and threw it over the extended branch of a nearby tree.
"Thank you so much,"
exclaimed the boy, offering to share the keys out of gratitude and thanks.
"Why, how very noble of you! A good trait indeed. I, however, already have the keys to open the doors that I need opened. I must be off then, as I'm meeting somebody who understands the importance of time, and one mustn't keep people waiting."
The boy thanked the man again and, wasting no time, started climbing the rope. However, when he reached the branch, disappointment began to set in. He realized that he couldn't quite reach the wall, as the branch was just a little too far away. Now, he knew he could climb, but he had never actually climbed that high before. As he lowered himself back down the rope, he felt a sense of accomplishment wash over him. It was nearing the end of the day, and the little girl passed by just as she had every other day. And, as always, seeing her was the favorite part of his.
How are you?
The girl asked excitedly.
I began knitting a blanket while thinking about how I can help you, and thought I would come by.
The boy told her all about his day, the man that helped him, and how he had climbed higher than he ever had before. The little boy was truly content and couldn't wait to see the blanket that the girl had started to knit. As the day came to a close, they sat together, dreaming about all the adventures they would have. The next morning, a gentleman emerged from around the corner. However, this was not the same gentleman as before. His tie was loose, his hair was unkempt, and he seemed out of breath.
Good morning,
Said the boy.
Good morning.
Replied the man, while putting on his suit jacket and straightening his tie.
I was wondering if you might have a second to lend me a hand.
Taking a glance at his watch, the man's demeanor changed into what seemed to be a panic.
I'm so sorry,
Said the man.
but I'm late for a very important meeting. Perhaps another time.
He wished the boy luck and rushed off in a hurry. Not long after, another man came along. He was wearing a long white lab coat and looked to be a scientist. Now the boy thought he looked oddly young to be a scientist, but he spoke like an old person. The scientist asked the boy, who sat on the ground, appearing to be rather glum,
What seems to be the problem, young man?
I think I'm going to give up.
said the boy.
For the day?
Asked the scientist.
No, for good, I think.
So you're just going to give up at the first sign of defeat? Not surprising.
Said the scientist.
Most people are great starters, but few are great finishers.
Now, the boy wasn't sure why, but something began to stir inside of him, like a great fire, and in an instant he was more motivated and determined than ever to get to the other side of the wall. He then proceeded to tell the man about the garden and the magical keys that can unlock any door.
What doors will you open?
Asked the scientist. Oddly enough, the boy wasn't certain, but assured the man he knew there would be wonderful things behind them, maybe even treasure.
I work with silver and gold, said the scientist. I've noticed over time that many men seek riches, yet fail to remember that riches come in many forms. You must face yourself squarely if you want to know who you are and of what you are capable.
Wow!
The boy thought to himself.
He's very wise, but really does speak like an old person.
Now the boy didn't completely understand what he was just told. So instead, he thought of all the adventures he was going to have and dreamed of what he might find behind those doors. He was not going to be like others. He was going to be a great finisher. The boy was more motivated than ever, but the next day no one came. No herder, no businessman, early or late. No scientist, and no little girl. The boy, however, didn't let the loneliness bother him and got to work on various plans and ideas as to how he could get over the wall. The boy figured that he would not be able to construct something with the materials around him and would have to go exploring. He found some boxes and crates and moved them one at a time, stacking one on top of the other. After climbing up the crates, the boy continued over the wall and let himself cling to the top and hang down the other side. It was so far down, he would surely hurt himself if he dropped. Fear pulled him back up off the crates and back onto the soil below, back to where he started and felt safe. The boy was now starting to lose hope, as none of his plans had worked. Just when he thought the garden was within his reach, he was set back to the beginning. Dusk was now setting in, and the sun was beginning to set. The boy must have lost track of time, as he noticed that some stars had already started to come out. He thought it funny how he had lost track of time yet again, just as he had the prior evening. Similarly, his thought was again to the little girl. Then, as if by magic, the little girl appeared, just as she had the previous day. The two of them spent the rest of the evening together until the sun set, knowing there's no place he would rather be. His thoughts seemed to wander in pure contentment, while building castles in the air. He couldn't help but dream of the future and looked up to the stars, as he turned his head, staring into the night sky. The next few days, which were in actual fact the next few weeks, seemed to follow the exact same pattern. He worked on and developed various plans and ideas as to how he could get over the wall. After all, the boy did love a good challenge and knew all about idle hands. Every few days, the little girl, full of kindness and compassion, noticed the little boy's frown and the weariness in his eyes. She always approached him with a soft smile and offered a hand, a gesture of friendship and comfort. It was as if she innately knew that sometimes what a weary heart needs most is simply a best friend and a little faith. The boy knew he was clever and had always been confident, but now his confidence was starting to dwindle as he had spent his days toiling away with all his might, trying to solve this challenging problem. But the solution seemed to elude him. He was obviously a skilled and knowledgeable boy. He just had to work out how to put these tools to use. The boy sat and sulked beside the boxes, thinking back to the little girl's words of encouragement. His eyes glistened with a glimmer of hope. Her words had touched his heart, and he felt a renewed sense of confidence. He looked upwards to the heavens and knew that he was not alone in his endeavor. He had a friend who believed in him. With this belief, he somehow knew that his determination would outweigh his reservations. The next morning, a mother and her daughter were passing by and noticed the boy with his plans. They saw that he was getting exasperated and sensed that he might be on the verge of defeat. In a gentle tone, the woman reminded the boy that passion and persistence make an irresistible pair, revealing that
even young men stumble and fall. You just have to acquire some faith.
And just like that, without a thought, the boy reassured himself that he would be a finisher and be successful in finding those keys. It was now late afternoon, early evening, and the day's end was rapidly approaching, when the boy noticed the herder passing by once again. They exchanged a few words, and after asking about his progress, the boy assured him that he was close to figuring out a way over the wall. The herder, with a knowing smile, continued on. Just then, the boy felt as though he needed some guidance, and decided to follow the herder. The boy ran after the herder in hopes that he could catch him before he rounded the corner. As he passed the crates that he had previously used, an idea popped into his head. As he put it all together, he ran even faster, having figured out a way over the wall. Yet, when he turned the corner, the herder was nowhere to be found. But to his surprise, the little girl was walking his way. Satisfied that he had found a solution, he instantly decided he would get back to the wall later, as he would rather see the little girl to share his exciting news. Eager to share his news, the little boy told her about how he had come up with a solution.
That's amazing.
The girl replied enthusiastically.
I think I've found a way over too. Follow me.
The girl exclaimed, taking him by the hand.
I have something I want to show you.
Guiding him around the corner.
While thinking of all the different adventures we will be able to go on, I finished knitting the blanket.
The boy was so enamored with the girl, the blanket, and her kindness that he had almost forgotten about the keys, and didn't even realize until that moment that he was in the garden. The garden was vast and green. Flowers lined the pathways, and in the middle a tree stood high with beautiful fruit hung from its branches. The sun cast upon the paradisical garden as a man dressed in white approached them. The boy then saw a chaplain in white and told the little girl that he'd be right back. He rushed over to ask him if he knows of any magical keys that have the power to open any door in the world.
Ah, yes, endless possibilities. Right this way,
replied the chaplain.
They are divine.
The chaplain guided the boy to a tree in the very center of the garden, underneath which stood a plaque. Confused, the boy looked to the chaplain.
But there aren't any keys,
remarked the boy.
There are just words.
At that moment, the boy realized that these were the keys he was seeking. The chaplain left, and the boy returned to the girl sitting against a tree and joined her under the blanket that she had knitted.
Did you find the keys?
She asked excitedly.
I did,
said the boy.
Although they weren't actual keys, they were just 3 words.
Interesting,
replied the little girl as he whispered them in her ear.
I wonder what our next adventure will be.
As the sun and stars began to come out, the little boy's heart swelled with gratitude. Staring up at the night sky, he knew that together they would go on so many different adventures and could overcome any obstacle. The end.